If you dug a hole straight through the earth and jumped in, you would not fall to the other side. You would fall past the center, slow down, stop just before you reach the surface on the far side, and then fall all the way back. Forever. And the whole round trip would take about 80 minutes. That's the good news. Almost everything else about this idea goes very badly wrong. Here's why. As you fall, the planet pulls you toward its center, so you speed up, reaching something like 40,000 kilometers per hour by the time you flash through the middle. But once you pass the center, all that mass is now behind you, pulling backwards. You decelerate at exactly the rate you accelerated. You arrive at the far side with precisely 0 speed. Reach out, and you could grab the edge. Miss, and you fall straight back down. It's the same motion as a pendulum or a weight bouncing on a spring, just with a planet doing the pulling. There's a number physicists love here, 42 minutes. That's how long a one-way trip takes. And the strange part is that it doesn't depend on where you dig. A straight tunnel from London to Sydney and a straight tunnel from your house to the shop down the road would both take the same 42 minutes. Same time, every time. Although if you use a realistic model of the Earth, with its dense metal core rather than a uniform ball, the real answer is closer to 38. Now, a small geographical problem. Most people picture digging from their garden and popping out somewhere exotic. In reality, only about 4% of Earth's land sits directly opposite other land. The continents are bunched onto one side of the planet, so the overwhelming odds are that you'd emerge in the middle of an ocean. Spain and New Zealand are one of the rare exceptions, which is why a Spaniard digging downward really would arrive in a New Zealand field. Almost everyone else arrives underwater. Except none of this can happen, because the hole cannot exist. The deepest hole ever drilled reached about 12 kilometers, roughly 1/500th of the way. At the bottom, the rock was around 180 degrees Celsius, twice as hot as expected, and it had stopped behaving like rock. It flowed. Every time the drill was pulled out, the hole closed itself back up. And that's 12 kilometers. The center is 6,371 kilometers down, at temperatures over 5,000 degrees and pressures of about 3.5 million atmospheres. There is no material that holds a tunnel open through that. Suppose we ignore all that and imagine an indestructible tube. You still die several times over. The tube fills with air, so instead of falling freely, you hit terminal velocity almost immediately and drift downward at the speed of a skydiver. A journey that now takes weeks rather than minutes, and stalls near the center where you'd hang, weightless, in the dark. Pump the air out and you fall properly, but now you're in a vacuum. And either way, the surrounding rock is thousands of degrees, so the tube is essentially a furnace with a person inside it. And there's one more thing that ruins it, which almost nobody thinks about. The Earth spins. Standing at the equator, you're already moving sideways at about 1,600 kilometers per hour. Jump into the hole, and you keep that sideways speed. But the rock around you, closer to the axis, is moving slower. So you don't fall down the middle. You drift sideways and grind along the wall, scraping off energy until you slump to a halt somewhere near the center. You could dig pole to pole instead, where the spin cancels out. But then the sun and the moon tug at you as you fall, and eventually you hit the wall anyway. So the honest answer is this. In the clean, frictionless world of physics, it's beautiful. You oscillate forever, 42 minutes each way, and the time is the same no matter where you dig. In the real world, you'd be crushed, cooked, suffocated, or ground against a wall long before you got anywhere near the middle. And the odds are you'd have surfaced in the Pacific anyway. It's one of those questions where the impossible version teaches you more than the possible one. If you enjoyed falling through a planet, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.